Hello out there, James here with another video of the night. I've been trying to make some interesting videos and make a different way of a different topic that most people don't normally address. And when I do, it's something really, and I wrote down this one topic that is really controversial. And because I was hearing about this one young man's channel that he was saying that why does he get the comments whenever he said that, as a black man he loves black women, and then some people had a problem with him saying that he loves his own women. So I'm going to address this tonight, and it's going to take a whole panoramic view of what was really going on. And this came to me as I was listening to this and what I was going to say. So I figured I'd go ahead and say it now. Why is on the tip of my mind? Because once you know when you hear something, it don't always come out the way you presented it. Well, anyway, hello everybody out there. Hope everybody's having a good day, good night, or good morning, wherever you at. So what the young man was saying, he was responding back to the comments that people were responding, and that they felt offended because they say subscribe simply because he said he loved his own women of his own race, and that's his. Personally, I feel that everybody have their own prerogative on who they choose and what they're attracted to. The reality of it is, if you look at the majority of people of every race, everybody stick to their own race. But there are selective individuals out of every race on the planet do go and love and marry other people of different races. But the majority of people and that do that, they can be friends with you, they can be cool down with you, and it doesn't mean that they're racist because someone said that they love their own women, or men, or black women say they love their own men, and black men say they love their own women, just like any other race of women, because there's a lot of factors in there. Number one is a cultural factor. Number two is just that's the culture you relate to. Everybody know this. And even though you can marry, we all can be, recognize each other as human. And we all believe, I understand we all believe the same. We all have the same wants and desires in the aspect of life. But the reality of it is, when it comes to certain topics, as far as race relations in this country, the only people right now, there's other people going through some things, but the only people that can understand is the women and men of your same culture. And I definitely see where he's coming from, where he makes a good point. And the majority of the people you see out in public, let's be face it, if they're a married couple, I don't care if they're a gay couple. Majority of people you say, if they, man and women, or two men or two women, whatever, they're white people with white people, okay? Black people with black people, Hispanic people with Hispanic people, Asian people with Asian people, and everything in between. And then you got a mixture of other people with a mixture of other people. That's just the way it is. And so, a few people had a problem with it because he said, I thought there was just an exclusive channel. But he said he loves his people. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people automatically love their own people. I mean, they get along with any other people, but 9 chances out of 10, they're going to be among their own people. Because you can feel free to be among your own people and say whatever is on your mind without majority of somebody, maybe somebody might have a slight disagreement with your philosophy and your view of other people. But let's face it, let's keep this thing real, really real. If you're a white person and your house is full of people who are white, and there's nobody married to any other race of people, or in some cases, maybe don't even know any other race of people. But 9 chances out of 10, whatever you see someone do some that disagree or egregious in public or whatever, you're going to express how you feel, because no one of that race is in your household. That's a fact. And you could be Latino, you could be Asian, you could be Russian, Middle Eastern, and any other race in between, because you connect with the people you relate to. And men, and let's say the Middle Eastern men will love the Middle Eastern women because they love their mother, they love their sisters, they love their daughters. So naturally, you're gonna love the women that is in your culture. And so, I mean, and then you know your own women, and your women know their own men, which is you are in your own culture. If you're a Hispanic man, you know you love your own women because same deal. It's, your mother, your sister, your aunts, and grandma, and everybody else. And you have a strong connection and open communication, and if you feel comfortable being around your own people, well, there's a segment of black people that feel the same way, and it's not about putting down the dysfunctionality of their own men, and right now, some black women need to hear that they are adored and loved by their own men, because there's some black women, just like any other women on the planet, they're gonna stand by their man until the test of time. No matter, even though you might get a segment of black men that just they kind of don't understand why the women are so difficult at them. And it's kind of sorely it's a miscommunication between the opposite sex. But it's no different in any other race of women that's on the planet. So I feel that the guy, that's his preference. That's his prerogative. There's some people that just love their own people, but every race love their own people, and they're gonna take care of their own people before they take care of themselves. And if you go on every culture around you, you see that. So I say those people would say to him that he's being racist for loving his own people, then you might as well accuse half the race of being racist, because majority of people of other races stick to their and do business with their own race in America. That's a fact, because it's a language. Sometimes it could be a language barrier, and sometimes I feel like it's a sense of I can be myself, and so they will understand where I'm coming from, because we come from the same background, and especially come from a different part of the world. Whatever part of the world they come from, that's the way it is. And so I don't understand why would anybody find that young man and make comments to him when people automatically stay to themselves anyway. You can find someone attractive of a different race, but the reality of it is how long they're going to hang with you through the longevity. Not saying that it can't happen. And are they willing to handle the crisis that is going along with you, just like the women of your own race? But he has a right to feel the way he do. And I just think that was kind of silly for someone to get mad because when it comes to black Americans in this country are viewed as the most low-graded people. No matter if it's in sports or music, there's always going to be a segment of people that are going to think that they can't handle things. in a certain, don't move in a certain manner. And we all, and some of us have lived a long time. It's not what people say. They don't say this to your face. It's what they display in your face. You can display in their attitude and their personality. Can tell you if they don't like you or not. I mean, someone cannot like you because they don't like your personality. Of course, you have people like that. But you also have some people who really see that you come from a race of people that they don't think highly of. Well, they don't just come out and say it, but but they'll let people in the close circle know. And whatever you entertain in your close circle, it manifests out towards other people. I've been around different people to witness this myself. And even though I say, well, I didn't do anything to this, but I never say anything wrong. You don't have to do anything wrong. Some people have the instantly of being prejudiced and racist. That's a fact. We have to understand that everybody have a. My friend said everybody got a little prejudice in them. No, oh, not me. Yes, you got a little prejudice against some group of people on the planet. It's because somebody don't, and I've heard this time and time again. Either it's their religion, the way they dress, the way they express, and just something you heard or you saw or you experienced a bad experience with somebody. Everybody have a certain group of people that they don't like. There's people, only in America you can pick one race of people you like and the other people that you don't like. And people say, well, I don't think I'm racist or prejudiced or bigot. But I've seen people do this. I've seen, I don't have a problem with the blacks. It's the Mexicans I don't like. I have seen people do it. I don't have no problem with the Asians, but I don't like the Arabs. I mean, you have people who are like that, and it's vice versa. People do the same thing from these other nationalities. They do the same thing, and they don't think highly of them. And it's because what the society has taught. Society have told them this. Maybe their elders and their family have told them this. Maybe they were influenced by the news on TV, or just come hearsay what someone has said. Everybody have a little prejudice in them at some point in time, and it's the thing about it is how do you work on your heart, and no one can change your prejudice, bring your heart, unless it's the Most High Himself. If you're gonna be prejudiced, it's gonna reflect. I've seen it personally, worship around other people of different nationalities, whether they were white and whether they were Hispanic or other people. Because here we are in the midst of hearing about the Word of God, and you have some people show some prejudice right in the midst of God. So people can, just because someone goes to church don't mean they don't exclude them either, because they can show some kind of prejudice. They can show some kind of classism because they feel like you don't dress a certain way. That's how people are. They don't feel like you're not educated enough to be in their presence because there's a certain demographic of people they're trying to impress. There's a certain type of people they're trying to attract. Oh, when you live some years on this planet, you will see how people really are. They don't have to say anything. Sit back a long time and observe. They will display what they don't want to say, and you'll figure out. And maybe you might be bold to confront it. And sometimes some people are not used to people confronting them with the facts, but it is what it is. I mean, some people don't like other people. I mean, it's a fact. So it was something how this young man that he has a YouTube channel, and once in a while I'll go by and watch what his material is, and he just points out certain things like how the system goes, whereas one group of people get treated this way, another group of people get treated this way, and even though it's the same difference, but it's a different outcome. It could be the same situation, but the outcome is different because the law sets it up to be that way, and the justice system sets to be that way, and the people enforcing the law leaves that kind of mindset too. And then because they know the demographic of where you live and where you're from, they automatically see it. People already automatically see color before they see character. Most people see color, but there's a certain percentage that see, but there's a certain percentage that see character, and that's just a fact. A lot of people don't want to face that. So, being that when you come from an environment and you come from a people, yeah, that they may be excelling in sports, yeah, they may be excelling in music, yeah, they might have a certain lifestyle, but there's an envious of people that is okay to get the resource from them, but don't accept them completely. And that's the code. That's the code of some people care. To keep the people who have the talent, but don't blend in with the ones who have the talent, because what you see and what you perceive, and once it's put an image in your mind, that's how it plays out. So, and in that case, it really is. That's the reality. That's the reality of how the way this world really is. The world sees color. We live in a country, yeah, we have multitude people in it. And even though you might see people, there might be a certain percentage of people will gather and protest. And there might be certain people you see holding hands, standing in the same line. But the reality of it is, but you see that small percentage. But it's the larger percentage of people that's away from the people. They have a different outtake and outlook. And that's a fact. And most of the time, those people are in positions who have this biased opinion about other people. They can operate in the position of a company. They can be in operation in a place of land, resources. So that entitles them to feel like there's some type of God over people. And that's a fact. And for some people, is that they know that a certain demographic of people, such as black people, that they destitute to fail. They feel like that. And then they see that there's something going on among these people. Like any other people have their own problems. I just don't, and it's not, don't mean to exclude other people, but it's just that when someone come out of the people say they must, they love their own people, is because sometimes their people need to hear it. Because it's so much mental illness and all kind of other factors, that self-hatred that this country has put on black people. Despite, no matter what they achieve, even if it's out of certain arenas, they still haven't come to the full with some people that they're human. That there's something about these people we don't like. Black people in this country is one of the most looked down, despised people. Even if some people come to this nation, come on, adapt to that part of American way, to look that down on the class system of people, and told that this certain class system of people are lazy and shiftless. They're not very educated. They're not very bright. And some blacks don't know this. Some blacks do. So that's why. And the ones that feel like they're hopeless, because over the generations of time, which you can't get over when the symptom is still there, transforming itself in front of you. So there's a segment of black people that have a love for one another, say we gotta stick together, that believe we should still stick together, and when it comes to black men and black women, because there's a segment of society says that because of the melanin in your skin must be evil. It's not what they always say, it's what they display. And what's their perception and assumption. Because TV and radio has programmed things like this. That's a fact. And so you keep showing the same demographic of people, after a while it paints an image in your mind. You show images of somebody and somebody come by and feed into the narrative, well, why is this happening? Then you something without really thinking and find out for yourself. You believe in what they say. See, I told you. It's like that. And that's always been the perception. So black people in this country, and I'm pretty sure as well as other places too, and they could probably this too. You know when you part at the part of the pole, because they don't like to put you on mainstream. So black men and black women, even I found out in Latin America, are put at the last end of the pole. And they Spanish speaking country. And it's like, wow, you would never think that there were no black people that speak Spanish. And so that does something when they told that the young, something's wrong with your skin. Just like it's made to be magnified here. Do you know that racism is so bad because they enforce it on young black boys and black girls at a younger age? So they tell you through the TV and they program that your melanin in your skin is disgusting. I know this is deep. And he said, wow, why would anybody? And it's something that your features, your full lips, your nose, like mine, with full lips and woolly hair, is something wrong. And if the person is much darker than I am, then they really get treated bad. Do you know that you have some people in the Caribbean island, parts of Africa, and sometimes in the bottom version of India, some do have this problem, that they bleach in their skin. They constantly bleach in their skin. They tell the women, and sometimes some of their relatives tell them in Latin America, they tell them that maybe if you would lighten up your skin, you would look more accepting. They will accept you more. You will get more. You get advanced in your career if you do this. See, the people don't understand how that racism is that deep. And so this is why this young black man had to feel, and like some black women said, I love my black men, and black men said, I love my black women, because they know that they being conditioned, just like you see that they being transformed, that they feel like you always got to be at the low and bottom pole. This, that you always got to be in the most impoverished condition because of the color of your skin. This is a fact. And not all people find it equally. Because if they figure that you do, that everything that would change their way, their philosophy of what they view, just by the texturation of their skin and the features of where they come from and the background. That's how deep this thing, and it has manifested in every part of the world, just about every part of the world. Somebody see race. This is a fact, not just in the United States, but other people have the same opinion in other parts of the world. Think about it. That someone can make you feel inadequate because something that you were born with put on your skeleton in your body, your skin color, the way you come out, the way you look, and you made to go to school around other individuals. And you might, and kids get picked on all the time. Some kids get picked on because they're short. Some kids get picked on because they're fat. Sometimes they got wear glasses. They got pimples on their face. That's something, it's hurtful. Yeah, but I understand it. But that's something that maybe physically that can change over a period of time. But someone with the coloration of the skin, that don't change. And then they're programmed through TV to say that anything, even when you play a toy, you've seen the case where the black doll versus the white doll, and the black child picks the white doll and said the white doll was good. So they program this at an early age. So they grow up, and then it's the black, and made it tell that black, hey, this is what's going on. And they program this with this mindset. And it's like it's a comedy show to some other people. That to make the black women look like they're dysfunctional, make it look like their hair and everything else is inadequate. So they have to put on fake stuff. And we know the other women put on fake stuff too. But this is what they want to improvise on the black women. But other women put in hair extensions and things like that, fake booty, breast and everything else. In fact, you got white females that will lay up in the tanning bed, trying to get darker than the people that's in our case. And they lay up on us, I need to get a little darker, I'm a little pale. But yet, it's like, why? Why you have, when you get natural rays from the sun, they got tanning booths. And he's like, and you wouldn't believe, but people would sit up there and they would tan, literally, risk the melanin in their skin, knowing that their skin can only go so far as coloration in their skin. And they go past it, it can be dangerous. This is among the Caucasian race. And this is true, and some people don't understand this. Black people can be out in a certain amount of sun until they get, till the sun affects them, but they can stay out longer because the melanin in their skin. In fact, it's even suggested that they do stay out longer because it's a health reason too. But it's something how the way America really is when it comes to race. But they tell the little black boy, the little black girl in some part of the world with this melanin skin that something wrong with your skin. You too dark. This is what they do in certain parts of the world. And they make them feel inadequate. Then that puts this kind of self-esteem in their head. So they grow up to be an adult telling that. And then it's really hurtful when the women hear that from their own men, or men hear that from their own women, that you too black, you too I don't want my kids coming up with nappy hair. And let me explain to you about the hair of black people. Black people can't get lice in their hair. They can't get something, can't live in their hair because it's naturally made a certain way. But yet, this is what they tell. So that's another reason why this young man said that he's proud of his skin, he's proud of his people. Because when you live in a society that paint your people like and told your little girls and boys that they're ugly because they're dark and their nose is big and their lips are big. This is what's happened, and so it turns out it goes to adulthood. So they put that into their mind. So when black people decide they want to celebrate their own and be among their own, it's to heal from that. Because mainstream society have told them in different parts of the world as well as America, your skin is a curse. And something's wrong with the melanin in your skin. This is the truth. And then maybe sometimes the way we have disagreement between the black men and black women. I mean, some black women and some black men can be irrational. Like some, but it's not by it's not by a majority. It's a segment of people. But it's the stereotype because you see it on talk shows. Like the woman being hot and loose. She's loud and she's hot and loose and things like that. So when they meet black women, they think all black women are hot and loose. They want to hypersexualize them, without really knowing that there's some women, there's a small percentage of women like that, but most black women are not like that. But the society think that when they see a black woman, that's what she is. She's loud, she's hypersexual, she's aggressive, she's, you know, you got to have. I mean, there's some people with this kind of mentality when they see a black man because his swag and his phalluses. We all know the story about that. And when it comes to the push and the shove, you don't want to want somebody based on lust, just not on appearance. But if a person gonna love you, particularly among a black men and black women, let them love you for your character, not because you're a fetish. And I believe some black men and black women feel like the only ones that can learn to love one another is black men and black women. So that's why it's there's a segment of black men and black women, just want to reassure other men and other women that, hey, I still love you. That's the truth. So that's why he said that, because there's a certain stigma that stick with black women, because the mainstream society, there's a certain stigma that's still with black men, and then you have that some black women came across some bad men according to their character, and they said that a black man don't want to move with some black women. They don't feel like they don't want much out of life, but they picked a man because of his character. But that's not true with every black man. There's some good black men that want things out of life, that's trying to figure out a way. It's like black women trying to figure out a way to get something better in life, but they want to paint the stereotype of somebody shiftless, lazy, and this is the kind of person you don't want because they don't have the education, they don't have no power, they don't have no influence, and they feel like they don't have no integrity. And these people, once they view you that way, they don't want to be around you that way. It's not what they say, it's what they display. It's not, they don't tell you this because no one really is so forward with it. You just see it in little increments of it. And we figure because just about our appearance, because even though we speak in the same language, we in the land and speak the same language, but the outcome is always the same. It's not what you say, it's what you display. And most people don't think you're going to at one point, at one time in your lifetime, you're not going to figure this out. That's the truth. So it's put into some people who have low self-esteem. They were told they were black and they were dark and they were ugly. And sometimes it really hurts when it comes from someone that looks like you among young people. So I don't want to have no black and dark and ugly babies. This, no whether it's a boy or girl. This is the truth. So if I can get somebody of another race to lighten it up, it would be much better. Not by the character of the person, but simply by texture of the skin. Ain't that something? That's why the young man said that. You want to know the truth? That's the truth. Why black men, there's some black men tell there's some black women, I love you regardless. You're my only pick of a woman. There's black women say you're my only pick of a man. Because I can connect with you, I can communicate with you, and I understand you. And if it comes to push come to shove, we both get in the same boat, being oppressed by any group in society of people in this country and in other places. So what better for two groups to understand is the male and the female in its particular race. And people but there's a certain segment of people that look by character, but very few people. There's a small people from all walks of life, from all different nationalities, will love you by your character. And then it's far and few in between. There's a small percentage, not a whole percentage of people, but there's a small people, because this is the way they program. Because you go among their people, you're gonna notice it. And if you don't understand their language and you don't understand their expressions, you will never know how they really feel. Some people can't even hide how they really feel. I have seen it, experienced it personally. This is something that, something that told me it's something you got to experience and you got to hear from it. And it took time to hear from it. And it's projected. And it's the history of it that goes back over 100 years. That the skin of a black person is to be mocked. And he put it in movies and cartoons. So to be a mockery, something to be made fun of. So when some black people saw this, that's why they said they knew that this was going to hurt the next. That there's going to be a group of people, their own race of people, that this was going to hurt and damage them, and damage their self-esteem. But the black people who are stronger enough to say, be proud of what God made you to be. You're not something that's something that to be make a spectacle of. That's what the young man was saying. Black people have been made a spectacle of and be made entertainment. And that's all what it is. And same with the black women. Some people don't think that way, but they express that way. How many people love you, who truly love you? But if you have a handful of people of a different nationality that can love you, and you don't have a handful of people that see you as who you are, your character, that's a blessing. They God sent. But there's a certain group of people who are not God sent. But all those people in that nationality, no matter what nationality it is, the image has already been painted. It's just a matter of time. What they're gonna say is what's gonna come roll off the top of their lips, and it comes out so subtly. So that's what it is. It's not about you. It's not, but for the for people that feel that way, you hear somebody saying that, they're not saying that they're better than you, that they hate you, or they're a black person that hate you, or they don't like your people. It's just that there's a segment of people that need to hear this, because generation after generation, decade after decade, one of the nationalities in some of these countries have been the darker races that have been made to feel like they're less than nothing, because due to the ancestry of where they believe they all come from a certain background, and that's living out there in the wildlife. That's true in different parts of the world. So they feel like that they're not inadequate or they're not educated enough. And some of these people, they don't think that these people are not going to don't have no communication with themselves, that with the Most High. Some people want to call it another name, but it's with the Most High. And some of these people who are ignorantly, who project this, what they call supremacist mindset, don't know that they don't have no common sense enough to know that the same person that made them, that brought them through the generations of them, wounds of their generations of their family, was the same God that brought these individuals to the generation of their family. It is not to be subjugated and be tormented and be made to feel less than because of what their futures are. And I hope somebody who really, in his message to somebody, see, I'm not just, there's a certain type of individual I want to get this to. It's an individual. It's not so much about the race of the individual. It's the individual who have this deepening, but they kind of come out. They try to hide it and conserve it unless they get around people, like-minded people like themselves, so they can bring it out. Then when they can bring it out, they feel so comfortable around it, or feel someone that can say it to you, because you're not gonna be so offensive, and you're just gonna take whatever they can dish out, and then you're gonna get rage or get mad and emotional. That's what it's really about. It tends to say, and they know that would offend you, but they do it anyway. But yet they gotta figure out how to wait. But if push came to shove, the same ones that would say something offensive about you, about your skin color, they would want something from you. Trust my word. They might act like they don't, but they do in the end. And we all know that. But I understand. And those people, it's out there. It's out there in articles. And it was some part of Africa where the guy was a celebrity. He was just lighting up. He was bleaching, putting chemicals in his skin to lighten, because they feel like the mainstream society will accept him. They would put chemicals in their skin to lighten up their skin. You tell me that race don't matter. Race does affect an individual. That put it in his skin that you too native, you too dark. This one, you're just too dark. We don't want someone too that melanin dark. We just want something to feel safe. Your hair, your texture of your hair, the way you wear your hairstyle is too African. This is what they tell blacks. Can you understand why some blacks want to have their own nation? Can you understand? If you were told this from generation to generation, I should determine how I feel about you, but your hair is inferior. I don't like the way you wear your dreadlocks. I don't like the way you wear your braids. I don't like the way you walk. I don't like the way, it's just something. In fact, you're too dark. Why don't you just back up and stay in the corner and hide behind a tree, because you're too dark. You're too dark, and it's almost like you have individuals. It's not what they say, and they treat your kid that the same way with other little kids in the class. I heard that there's some people they do that, and the kids don't understand that because children are just children from all walks of life. So they put this on their children because the complexion of his skin. Funny. And you think people are not gonna figure this out? I don't like the way they look. It's something about all these little dark children around. They black with their beautiful woolly hair, with their plush lips and their nose. What is about that? But yet, when somebody says, okay, if you don't like the people, then maybe we should go someplace we can heal. Wait a minute. Why you want to do that? But yet you just got done saying that they offend you. They it's something about their presence, you know. It's just something about them being their skin, you know, their nose and everything. Why you don't ask why they want to go? So they can mentally heal up and deal with whatever spiritually healed up, because that's what some people, black people, are going to need. And sometimes, in that sense, I can understand why they want to desegregate. But you can't integrate among. You can't integrate with something that's constantly telling you you're subjected to our entertainment. That's a fact. And they said, wait a minute, well, Martin Luther King and this individual with civil rights, they would want something like that. That's what you say, right? But yet, since they passing some whatever ones is left, the system hasn't changed. In schools, TV, the system hasn't changed. With their preference, the system hasn't changed. In some parts of the world, the system hasn't changed when it comes to complexion. So that's why I see why that young man said he loves his women. And he's a black man. He said, he said he loved black women. I don't blame him. And he wants to stay only, and if you ever get married, you're gonna be married to a black woman, because he knows his history, he knows himself, and he knows what other people said about his people. And you got some people say, well, I like the women, but I don't like the men. I like black women, but I don't like black men. You got other women that say, well, we don't like black women. That's why I said only people can, and that's stupid. How you love one and love but you don't like you listen. You can be any other race of women, but don't. You like black men, but you can't figure out the connection between the black man and the black woman. It's not stupid. Think about it. Or you're a man that like the black woman, but you can't stand the black man. Isn't that? Think about. There's some people are that ignorant. Which tells me it's a fetish relationship. It's a lustful relationship. It's not a love relationship, because that's not love. That's a fetish. Never pick a relationship based on a fetish or this is what I heard what these women are like. No, you need to get involved with somebody because you like them for them and you love them for them. Not because of what a fetish is. And if you base your relationship on that because of status and fetish or whatever, excuse me, it's not going to work. It's like you're marrying a prostitute. It's not going to work if she don't get deliverance from the spirit of prostitution. She going to do what she got to do. That's a fact. So to sum it all up, that's why he felt compelled to say he loved his black women. What I've told you all here in this almost over half an hour. And there's some black women that feel the same way. Not all black women hate their black men or despise their black men. Because if that was the case, it would defeat them, the whole purpose that they love their sons, their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers. Some treat them like the queens, friends, distant cousins, distant friends. And it's that you grew up in the same, understand the same language, speaking the same, come from the same stock and hood and everything else. That's what it's really about. So that's my belief about that. It wasn't to be racist, because majority of people stick to their own race, and that's the reality. And it don't make them that they're racist either. If a white female thinks all white males are attractive, don't make that she's racist. That's just her preference. If a Latino or Hispanic or Latina woman find her Hispanic the most sexiest man, that's just the way it is. If an Asian woman do the same thing, if the Middle Eastern woman do the same thing, it don't make them that they're racist. They'll make it that they're prejudiced. That's their preference. That's what they prefer to stick to their own. And they most likely majority, you know and I know, most people stick to their own race of people. So why say that this young man who said he loved his own women is racist? That don't make no sense when other people do the same thing. Majority of white males gonna marry white females. That's just a fact. Same with Asian males with Asian females. Do some crossover and marry other races with white females or white whatever Spanish, whatever? Yes, they do. But this majority of American men, white men, go with American white women. Same with Latino women with Latino men. Asian men with Asian women. Middle Eastern men with Middle Eastern women. East Indian men with East Indian women. And then so on and so on. Because, why? Because of language, culture, and communication. So, when he on his channel, that's his preference. And it's just like anybody else would love to say, hey, I love my own women. I would think that you're racist or you're prejudiced, because naturally you're gonna love your own. Your prejudice, your mom, your mom, your sister, and they have some kind of background with some part of the world they come from. Naturally, they're gonna love their own woman, because their mother, their sisters, their aunts, aunties and grandmas and everybody else. That's what he was saying. You want to pay homage to them. But I just wanted to make a video consistent with this. But it's the funniest thing that you hear people say, oh, why you just want to say you want to love black women? Or why can't you say all women? Because that's his preference. Just like it's your preference, whatever your preference is. And maybe you might be a kind of guy ain't like that, or women that's not like that. But believe me, somebody in your nationality is like that. Majority of people in your nationality, if you're non-black, love their own people. That's why they marry, lay down, and have kids with them. And even if the relationship didn't work out, they were love at one time. It was loving it, and at first time they had a relationship with them. So anyway, that's my rant for today. Anyway, it's good to love your own people. There's nothing wrong with that. And whatever you look like, loving your own people, it means you just love your own self. You love your own culture. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody should love their own culture. That's the fact. It's who they are. It's who their identity is. Everybody have a sense of identity. And this is a year African Americans found their way to their identity. But it's not that title, what I just said. Now they just learn to love one another. It's just a matter of time. So I hope you find this video really informative. Until next time, you guys take it easy out there and be blessed. And that until more interesting topics come along, I hope this will kind of get people to talk about and think about what they say when they see something like that, and they will understand the other side of it. You take care. Be blessed. Until next time. See you on the next video.